I was standing on the front porch of the house I and my husband built many years ago, holding a homemade apple pie that was still warm. It was Thanksgiving, and I'd driven 40 minutes to be there, hoping maybe that year would be different. I knocked 3 times. The door opened, but only halfway. My daughter-in-law, Brielle, stood there with her arms crossed. Her smile was tight-forced. "Helen," she said, flatly. Before I could respond, my son David appeared behind her. He looked uncomfortable, and he wouldn't meet my eyes. "Mom, you can't just show up like this anymore." The words hit me like a punch. I held up the pie. "I just wanted to see you, sweetheart. Say hello. It's Thanksgiving." David shifted his weight, glancing back at Brielle. "It's not a good time, Mom. Please don't make this harder than it has to be." I stood there for a moment, the pie getting heavy in my hands. "I drove a long way," I said, quietly. Brielle stepped forward. "We appreciate that, but we need our space. Family time. You understand." She closed the door before I could answer. I walked back to my car, the pie still in my hands, feeling smaller than I'd felt in years. I drove home in silence, the radio off, just the sound of the highway beneath my tires. When I pulled into my driveway, the house felt empty. No decorations, no noise, just me. I heated up a frozen dinner and sat at the kitchen table alone. After I ate, I walked into the living room and pulled out an old photo album from the shelf. The first picture stopped me cold. It was me, a much younger version, holding baby David in my arms. My late husband, Robert, was beside me, smiling so wide it hurt to look at. We were standing in front of the very house I was just denied entrance to. I flipped through more photos. David's first day of school. His high school graduation. The day he married Brielle. In every picture, I was there. Proud, supportive, present. I closed the album and walked to my office. On the wall was a framed document. The house deed. And right there, in black and white, was my name. Helen Walsh. Sole owner. Not David's. Not Brielle's. Mine. I stared at it for a long time, something cold settling in my chest. I sat in my armchair and let the memories flood back. I remembered the summer we spent rebuilding the roof. David was 16, studying for his college entrance exams inside, while I and Robert hammered away in the blazing heat. Every nail, every shingle, we did it ourselves. I remembered David bringing me lemonade, telling me to take a break. "You're going to kill yourself up there," he'd say, half joking. But I didn't stop. Because this wasn't just a house. It was a promise. A promise to give our son a good life. When David turned 25 and got married, he asked if he could move in. "Just until we save up for our own place," he said. I didn't hesitate. I handed him the keys. I moved into a smaller place across town and let him start his life there. But I never transferred the deed. Robert always said, "Don't give everything away until you know he's ready." I whispered to the empty room, I didn't just give him a house. I gave him everything. And somehow, it still wasn't enough. Weeks passed. Thanksgiving turned into December, and the silence stretched longer. I tried calling David. It went to voicemail. I sent a text asking how the kids were doing. No response. I checked Brielle's social media and saw photos of their perfect family at a tree lighting, at a holiday market, opening presents. But I wasn't in any of the pictures. I wasn't even mentioned. It was like I didn't exist. One evening, I gathered my courage and called again. This time, Brielle picked up. "Hi, Brielle. It's Helen." I was just hoping to. She cut me off. "Helen, we're really busy right now. I have activities, David's got work, and honestly, we just need you to respect our space." Her tone was polite but firm, like she was talking to a door-to-door salesman. "I just want to be part of their lives," I said, my voice cracking. "We'll reach out when we're ready. Please don't make this harder." The line went dead. I sat there, phone in hand, staring at the wall. And for the first time, anger started to replace the sadness. Christmas was 2 weeks away. I decided to make one last effort. I bought cards for everyone, David and Brielle. I wrote them by hand, pouring my heart into every word. I love you. I miss you. Please let me be part of your lives. I mailed them with hope still flickering inside me. Christmas morning came. No calls. No texts. I made coffee and sat by the window, watching the snow fall. Around noon, I walked outside to check the mail. My heart stopped. There, stuffed into my mailbox, was one of my cards. It was torn in half. The envelope was ripped open, and the card itself was shredded down the middle. I pulled it out with shaking hands. It was the one I sent to David. I stood there in the cold, holding the torn pieces, and something inside me broke. Not sadness this time. Clarity. They didn't want me. They'd made that painfully clear. And I was done begging. I walked back inside, threw the torn card in the trash, and picked up my phone. I called my lawyer friend, Doug. I need your help, I said. It's time. A few days later, I drove back to the house one last time. I didn't call ahead. I didn't announce myself. I just went. I parked in the driveway and walked up to the front door. I knocked. No one answered. I knocked again, louder this time. Through the window, I saw David. He was standing in the living room, looking right at me. Our eyes met. He didn't move. He just stared, then slowly turned away. I stood there for a full minute, waiting, hoping he'd change his mind. He didn't. I saw Brielle walk past the window, laughing at something on her phone. Neither of them came to the door. I took a deep breath, walked back to my car, and sat behind the wheel. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. I looked at the house one last time, the house I built, the house I gave them, the house where I was no longer welcome. Okay then, I said quietly. And I drove away. For the last time. This time, I wasn't coming back begging. This time, I was taking action. I met Doug at a small coffee shop the next morning. He slid a folder across to me. I pulled the records. The deed is still 100% in your name. Legally, it's your house. David has no claim. I nodded slowly. So I can do what I want with it? Doug leaned back. Technically, yes. But Helen, this is your son. Are you sure you want to go nuclear? I thought about the torn Christmas card. The unanswered calls. The closed door. I've never been more sure, I said. I told him my plan. He listened, and when I was done, he nodded. It'll take about 2 weeks to process. You'll need to sign some paperwork. I met his eyes. Do it. A few days later, I visited a local charity called Safe Harbor. They helped single mothers and veterans who were struggling with housing. The director, a kind woman named Kelly, gave me a tour. The place was crowded, families everywhere. She showed me the small rooms where families lived 4 to a room. We're always at capacity, Kelly said. We turn away 2 families for everyone we can help. In the kitchen, a little girl looked up at me with wide eyes. Is this your house now? She asked. I knelt down beside her. No, sweetie. But maybe I can help make it a little bigger. Kelly's eyes filled with tears. If you're serious about the donation, Helen, you'd change lives. I stood. I'm serious. The paperwork took a week. Doug walked me through every page. Once you sign, it's done. The house will belong to Safe Harbor. David and Brielle will have 30 days to vacate. I picked up the pen. My hand didn't shake. I signed my name on every line, and when I was done, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. Kelly called me that evening. Helen, I don't even know what to say. This is going to help so many people. When do they get the notice? I asked. We'll send it Monday morning. They'll have 30 days. I nodded to myself. Good. Monday morning, the certified letter arrived at their door. I was sitting in my living room when my phone started ringing. David. I let it go to voicemail. He called again. And again. On the 4th call, I answered. Mom, what the hell is this? His voice was shaking. I kept my tone calm. You asked for space, sweetheart. I'm giving it to you. There was silence. Then Brielle's voice in the background. Call a lawyer. We're not moving. I hung up. and I turned off my phone. That night, I sat in the dark. Part of me felt guilty, but a bigger part felt relief. I remembered a conversation with Robert, years ago. We were watching David play in the yard. When do we give him the deed? I'd asked. Not yet, he said. He's not ready. How will we know when he's ready? He looked at me, his eyes serious. When he understands what it costs to build. When he remembers where he came from. If he forgets that, he'll forget who he is. I finally understood what he meant. David forgot. He forgot the sacrifices, the sweat, the love. He took it for granted. And when he shut me out, he proved he wasn't ready. And that wasn't my burden to carry anymore. 2 weeks later, Safe Harbor began moving families into the house. I volunteered to help. The first family was a single mom named Maria and her 2 young daughters. We spent the afternoon painting the living room together. I never thought anyone cared about people like us, Maria said. I smiled. Someone should. The girls ran through the house, laughing. It was the first time in months that house had felt alive. Meanwhile, David's life was falling apart. He hired a lawyer, but there was no case. The house was legally mine to give. The stress broke him and Brielle apart. She packed a bag and moved in with her parents. He'd lost everything. The house, his wife, his dignity. All because he shut out the one person who actually loved him. A few days later, I was cleaning out my garage when I found an old box labeled David Childhood. Inside were his old drawings, a toy car, letters he wrote me. Dear Mom, you're the best. I love you. David. I sat on the garage floor and cried. Not because I regretted my decision, but because I missed my son, the one who used to think I was a hero. I wrote him a letter. A real, handwritten letter. I told him he was still my son, but that sons don't shut out their mothers and expect to stay warm. I love you, I wrote. But I won't be invisible anymore. I drove to his apartment and left it on his doorstep. A week later, my phone rang. It was David. His voice was shaking. Mom, I messed up. I let her come between us. I forgot what mattered. I didn't respond right away. You didn't let her, I said finally. You chose to. He was quiet. Then, softly, is it too late? I don't know, David. He started crying. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. Sorry isn't enough, I said. But it's a start. We talked for an hour. He told me about the separation, the apartment, how he was seeing a therapist. I found the box, he said. I didn't realize how much you gave up for me. I exhaled slowly. That's what parents do, sweetheart. We give. But we're not supposed to disappear. Can I see you? He asked. There's a barbecue at the shelter this Saturday, I said. You're welcome to come. He agreed. Saturday came. I was at Safe Harbor, helping set up. Around noon, I saw David's car pull up. He stepped out, looking nervous. He walked slowly toward the crowd. One of the kids ran up to him. You want a hot dog, mister? David smiled, surprised. Sure, buddy. I walked over. We stood there for a moment, just looking at each other. Thanks for coming, I said. He nodded. Thanks for inviting me. We sat at a picnic table. We didn't talk much at first. We just watched the families, letting the noise and laughter fill the awkward spaces. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But it was a start. Over the next few months, David started showing up regularly. He volunteered, helped with repairs, played with the kids. Slowly, we started talking again. Really talking. One evening, we were painting a bedroom together, and he stopped. I was so focused on what Brielle wanted that I lost myself. I lost you. I kept painting. You didn't lose me, David. You pushed me away. But you can find your way back. He nodded, eyes wet. I want to. It wasn't perfect. There was still hurt. But we were there. Together. A year after the donation, Safe Harbor threw an anniversary celebration. The house was packed. Kelly gave a speech and called me up to the front. Helen Walsh didn't just give us a house, she said. She gave us hope. The room applauded. I looked out and saw David, standing in the back, clapping. Our eyes met. He smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. After the speech, we sat on the front porch together, watching the sunset. I used to think this house was everything, David said quietly. But now I get it. It was never about the house. I nodded. It was about what the house represented. Family. Sacrifice. Love. He looked at me. I'm sorry it took me so long to see that. I put my hand on his shoulder. You see it now. That's what matters. We sat in comfortable silence, and for the first time in a long time, I felt whole. Not because I got my son back, but because I found myself again. Today, the shelter thrives. David met a wonderful woman named Amy, and they got married. They have a daughter now, and they named her Rose, after my late mother. The first time I held her, I cried, because it felt like coming full circle. I think about that Thanksgiving years ago, standing on the porch with a pie in my hands, being turned away. It hurt, but it also freed me. I gave away a house, but I built something stronger. A legacy, a family, a purpose. And this time, I didn't lose myself in the process. I found myself. And that was worth more than any house could ever be.